Was it difficult for me in the beginning, or do I feel like there was something I could have done differently? So in the beginning, it was around 18 months Darius regressed. Before 18 months, he was talking. Around 18 months, they have like not a lot of words, but he was singing his favorite songs from Blues Clues. He responded to his name. I was taking him to the little gym at the time, and he was awesome at the little gym. He was the head of his class that they moved him up quickly. And he walked at 10 months. So everything seemed to be in order. It seemed as though he was meeting all his developmental milestones. But around 18 months, that's when everything changed and he regressed. And I took him to the doctor and told the doctor. But this was around 2006, 2007. And the doctor was like, let's wait because, it's hard to tell. And autism wasn't new, but it wasn't like it was now. Doctors didn't have all the information in 2005, 6, 7. So it was just like, wait. But knowing me, I'm not the one that was going to just sit around and wait for answers, because I did see the regression. The doctor didn't see the regression because he wasn't in the home. He doesn't know. He just going by what I told him. So after the doctor's appointment, I went home and started doing some research on the internet. I came across the Children's Specialized Hospital, and then, reached out to them, and then they started with testing him, and then he had early intervention. But at first, it was a hard pill to swallow, but I had hope, because a lot of kids are delayed, and they could be speech delay. You never know with a kid. So I had hope. I always had hope. Like, I hoped for the best. And it was tough, like, seeing your kid, a certain way, and then he wasn't that way anymore. So it was a hard pill to swallow. But did I go back and think about it, like, did I do something wrong? And I did go back and think, well, I took all my prenatal vitamins, I ate healthy, I did everything that in my power to have a healthy pregnancy. But then I had a C-section, so I thought about that, like, did the C-section do something? Because his heartbeat was dropping, it was flipping me. It was a long process, and it was, I decided I wasn't having any more kids after that. That was a one and nowhere thing. It was very, because even myself, my health was at risk. It was a very different situation, and very serious situation when I had him. And I went back to that, maybe that. But the thing is, I went through different phases with this autism journey. So in the beginning, I would do the research and hoping that it was something he would grow out of. Like, maybe this was just a little setback, and that he would grow out of autism. I didn't know a lot about autism, and people watching this video maybe saying it's genetics and it's who he is and stuff. But as a mom, I didn't know autism. I was new to autism. Did I know someone? My husband has a family member with autism, but I still didn't know autism. He really didn't know autism like that either, because even though he knew more than he lived with a person with autism, but it still was different with your own child, because you hope, okay, just a little setback, maybe he would start talking again, because he was talking. He was responding to his name and everything. So, did I ever think it was my fault? I never really thought it was my fault, that something that I did or my husband did. I never really thought about that, but I did think about how how his future was going to be a lot. And during different phases of his journey, I felt different things. When he was around other children, I thought maybe he would talk. Like, his cousins, they are around him. Maybe he would start talking. And I hoped every day, like every day that I woke up, I hoped for a different outcome. I hope that it was over. I hope that he was going to talk and be neurotypical, if you will. I just had hope. I would ask his teachers, like, have you ever had any other students that they were this way and then they just came out and was different and they weren't autistic? And, they gave me a little hope. Well, we had children that, showed great progress. They weren't talking and then they started talking. So, and I did research, not about, just to see the stories out there, just to see if anyone came, any person was autistic, like show signs of autism, and they came out of it. So, it was hard. But I'm more like a worrier. They don't want you to say you're a worrier, Mom. But I jumped on this journey like, I'm a worrier. My son is going to come out of this one way or another. So as time went on, I realized like he's autistic, and I start learning more about autism. Okay, he's autistic. So what does this mean? So I started focusing on what does it really mean. And he wasn't talking, but my whole thing was hoping. Like, I'm like, Dad, one day I hope he would be like everyone else. Hope, just like having only positive expectations. I did, just hope. But then my hope kind of changed to other hopes, like I hope this, but then I hope other things, like things that were more realistic, like, how can I get him from point A to B? So I started focusing on him, like how to help him in the world, how to help the world accept him. Once you come out of, the dream that you are in and realize this is your reality. This is his reality. And is it bad or good? No one can say it's a bad or good reality, but it's reality. Did it suck? Yeah, it sucked. Is that a bad word? Suck. Did I see him differently? I didn't see him differently, but once you see your child a certain way and then he's not that way anymore, it does suck. But did I love him less? No. He's my perfect, but you go through all this. It's normal to go through all this stuff. You don't, like, no one told you. You get pregnant, you have a kid, and you expect them to grow up to be football players and basketball players and doctors and lawyers. And when you find out that's not the case, and everybody out there, y'all know y'all had these dreams. That's why y'all have kids. Because you want them to be something awesome, right? But once you have a kid with special needs, you had to find awesome in a different way. And, they are awesome, but once you accept the reality and know that your kid is perfectly them, you start seeing things differently. But you have to come out of that funk. And I know a lot of parents are in that funk, like, what am I going to do? He's tearing down the house. Because Darius, he did a lot. Like, it was hard. He was destroying stuff, throwing stuff, kicking stuff, screaming, and all kinds of stuff. It's a hectic world. And even at 21, he went through so many different phases that I had to learn him. Now he's at a stage where he's more OCD, and I don't know how to help him, and I'm trying to learn it, and I get a little stressed myself because I put something somewhere and we going back and forth because I want it there, but he doesn't want it there. But, this is my house. I can't move everything in the basement, Darius. So he wants the house to be empty, and he's like moving everything in the basement and furniture away from the walls. And, when I think about when he was younger, he did things too, but it was a little different because he was smaller and, more manageable, if you will. Not, manageable, because now he's an adult, and he knows he's older, and he's like, listen, lady, I'm the boss, and I need to do this, and and I'm independent, and I can do more and more, and you have to allow me to do it. And it's tough. It's tough. So you go through different phases, and you have to learn your child. And I used to look at other kids and wish Darius would do that. I wish he can just go outside and play with other kids. I wish he could do this. I wish he could do that. And then one day I just stopped it, because he's not them. He's Darius. So I started focusing on his awesomeness and his greatism. And that's how I make it day by day, because he's an individual. He's Darius. He makes me laugh. He loves hugs. He loves food. And it's perfect. He's a perfect being. But do I worry about the future? I worry every day. Every day that I wake up, I worry about, I'm waiting for the bus for him right now. It's just like, I have to send him in the world, and I can't go with him everywhere he goes. I have to trust the bus driver. I have to trust the teachers. I have to put my trust in so many people. The world, I have to let go and trust so many people that, it's hard. Trust is hard. But I have to do it. Parents like myself, we have to trust so many people. And we have to, people think that we are overprotective over our children, but we're not, because we already have to trust these people, but then we don't even trust the people that we know. Because I don't just let anyone take Darius places, not even people in my family, because they are not me, and I get so used to being with them. I've been with this dude every day, around the clock. I sound like the news around the clock. Bringing you the news around the clock. And I have trust issues. And because people don't know him like I know him. And that's another thing, family, you got to get to know the people that are autistic or special needs in your family, because one day, I am going to pass on, and I worry about that too. So do I have time? I never blame myself for anything, because I didn't do this. God made him this way. This is the way God intended it to be. He gives me the strength. I pray every day. You know what I pray for? Patience, because it is hard. People say, you seem so calm. I have to pray about it. I have to pray to be patient, Yeah, I do. God, give me the strength, because when this boy come in here, he running, cooking rice. So I pray every day. I pray for all the kids that are on the spectrum, all the people who have special needs. I pray for the world to be a better place. There's so much going on in the world, but this is where I am, and I know I'm all over the place, because I really wanted to make this video and answer this question for you, and it's like I really didn't think about it, but I just wanted to answer it, to try to get, so you have an idea about how I feel, and in this journey that I am on and other parents are on. It's not easy, and I know there are people on the spectrum, and when parents do come out and say that it's not easy, they get upset, and it's not easy. This is not an easy journey, but is it worth it? Yes, of course. Having a kid, being a parent is always worth it, no matter if you have a neurotypical kid. I'm rushing in my speech too, because I'm trying to hurry up and do the video, because the bus gonna be flying around the corner. Slow down, dude. I gotta trust these crazy drivers with me. They all come flying around the corner. I asked the HOA, I need a speed bump. But yeah, it's not easy. Is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. And that's anything else people want to know. I'm down to answer anything, because I don't have anything to hide. It's like, this is real. Autism is real. The spectrum is huge, and I'm an advocate for profound autism. Because there's a group, 30% of people on the spectrum are profound, and they don't want to give us that definition, because they say it takes away from other people. But you enact all that. But be great. One.